Mm-hmm. All right, we are live from Main Street Wellness Studio. Welcome to our second part of the Winter Wellness Forum. We got Kelly Codiana over here from Divinely Rooted, who's a yoga and Pilates instructor. We have Kathy Perez, who is a small group and one-on-one personal trainer here at Main Street Wellness and a couple other places. And Kelly works at a few places too, but she has her own place. And then we got Jennifer Morganti, right?
Thomas, but that's okay.
Thomas, oh yeah, the maiden name, right? And she owns Evolve Nutrition right here in Wallingford as well. So we're just going to go through a couple different topics today and discuss things. If you have questions, we will be happy to try to respond to those for you the best that we can. So here we go. Hopefully they can hear.
I hope so.
All right, so basically our topic tonight was how to combat the struggles of the working and the stay-at-home parents. So I personally am not a parent, but these three ladies are. So that's why we have them here today. We did actually try to get a gentleman to come in today to represent the male point of view, but he was busy. So maybe he was helping with the kids. I really don't know. Anyway, one of the first things we wanted to talk about today was how fitness can help keep you active longer, and it would help you spend more quality time with your kids and family. So girls, let's talk a little bit about your fitness and what you do in your life that helps you stay active so that you're able to be there for your kids. So maybe Jen, can we start,
Sure,
start with you, some of the stuff that you did?
Yeah, so I'm the 5 a.m. person.
Nice.
I set myself a bedtime every night. I try to go to sleep about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then the alarm normally goes off around 4:30 to 5 o'clock. And I try to be consistent because I find the more I keep with that regular bedtime and regular wake up, the more natural it becomes. Meaning sometimes I wake up and it's like, okay, alarm's gonna go off at 3, 2, 1. And then I feel better getting out of bed, right? When I'm consistent with it. So definitely early morning, and then it's normally a combination of either yoga that I'm actually streaming from home in my living room or in my bedroom. And I set up a little mat and I get some lights and some Christmas lights set up. So I kind of set like some ambiance. So I kind of feel like I'm in a studio because I'd rather be in a studio, but just to get the feel. And then I stream a free class online, or sometimes I go into the basement and I'll do some strength training, like some squats, or some band work, some intervals, jumping around kind of stuff. Sometimes it's a streaming video too. But I find that works, especially the consistency.
Absolutely. Becomes habit.
Yeah.
How about you?
You miss it.
So I used to be a 5:30 girl. And then I got a taste of the 9:30 world, and that is a lot better.
Oh.
But I had to do 5:30 when my kids were a lot younger. Because my husband was home at that point, and I could go work out, get it done, and then, not all my kids were at school yet. Now that they're a little bit older, I go and do my 9:30 workouts or 10 o'clock. It just gives me more energy to get through the day. And plus, when I work out, I'm in a better mood. And on top of that, helps me sleep better. So it's a nice cycle. I sleep better at night, I feel better during the day, and then I end up having more energy. I'm not having sluggish times, which every once in a while, of course, I do. But, I used to start falling at like 3 o'clock and need a nap or a coffee or a Diet Coke. But
That's all right.
But I don't need it so much anymore that I've gotten into this nice habit of working out every day. Whether I'm working with a client or teaching a class, I make sure that I'm working out too. And once it's done, I feel good, and usually my energy stays up through the day.
We'll go with Kelly and check and see if we have any questions. Kelly, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I can't say I have a real consistent routine because I start my day every different with clients and work. But I love to have routine, and I have had routine, and I totally agree with you that routine is definitely key. But regardless, exercise in general, I always fit in some kind of exercise, whether it's a hike out in nature. I find for me getting outside, doing a hike in the woods with the trees and just being outside, no matter what time of the year it is. Last week I just went to Vermont and went snowshoeing. So I try to get outside as much as possible. Fresh air just gives me, I just feel more alive. So that's my sort of thing, is to get outside at least 3 times a week, and also I do a lot of yoga, but I also balance it out with Pilates. So I do yoga and Pilates, and I teach it all the time. So I'm constantly holding forearm planks and holding regular high planks and doing a lot of abdominal core exercises. So I do agree that staying active, I sleep better. It's very true. If I'm not active during the day, if I spend too much time on the computer, I don't sleep as well. Getting off the computer and doing active things truly helps with a whole cycle of sleep better.
Alright, so we got a couple people watching today, so hello. Sure, this was friends and family. I know we had some discrepancies about what time and things of that nature. We were trying to accommodate everyone, but we're going to go to about 6:30 to 7:30, depending on how long we decide to talk for. Alright. So let's move on to another topic. So how, and I think you girls touched on this just a little bit a few moments ago when you were talking about your fitness routines and things of that nature. How does taking downtime for yourself allow you to be a more productive parent and or spouse? So what can they do, and how does downtime help you?
I mean, I personally find it one of the most important things you can do. I remember speaking to somebody recently that said that they're selfish, and they said when their kids were young that they felt like they were selfish because they would take the time to go work out. But I don't look at it as selfish. I look at it as I'm doing something to better myself. I'm taking that time for me so that when I come back into being a parent, I'm not aggravated, I'm not agitated. I've had, and whether it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just to focus on me. And then I can come back and be everything I need to be, whether it's a wife, a sister, a parent, whatever it is. If I don't get that, even if it's 30 minutes, if I don't get that downtime, I'm constantly going and being everything for everyone, and I don't get a break, and I don't get to touch base with myself. And it's like a horrible cycle that will start, and it upsets me when I hear women and men say, I feel selfish though. I shouldn't, or especially if they are working parents and they work all day and they're like, I can't just come home and go and leave my kids for a half hour. I haven't seen them all day. But the truth is, if you go and take that half an hour between work and dealing with your kids, you'll be so much happier. You'll be less aggravated. You'll be less stressed out, and your kids will actually probably enjoy their time with you better. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think it helps you be more engaged with your kids too. Like when you're not in that state of kind of go, like maybe there's even an edge of anxiety, feeling going on. If you don't take that time out for yourself, how are you ever going to be in that balanced place that you need to be for your kids? Because that's the thing. It's like life doesn't get easier when you're an adult, right? And parenting, like becoming a parent, definitely doesn't make it easier. So you're still susceptible to everything that can happen when we do too much, But you have to show up for your kids, and you have to be that rock, and you have to demonstrate the balance. So if you're not balanced, how can you ever be balanced for your kids?
Right.
Like how can you ever be that role model, and how can you ever have quality time with them if you're running from one thing to the next constantly?
100%.
I think the other thing is just efficiency. There's so many things that we can spend time on, but when we really step back, it's like, do I have to spend that much time on that, or is there a way? Like, will I be more productive if I'm in a better place?
Yeah.
Time management, I agree. I was gonna say that, basically really looking at your days. I try to look at my calendar on Sunday and sort of plan out my week and what it's gonna look like. And then in the morning when I get up in the morning, just kind of looking at my day and sort of designating like, okay, I know some certain days, like Wednesday, this past Wednesday was insane, and I got home from the work at the end of the day, and my son wanted me to do something for him, and I said to him, I need some space. I just haven't had any downtime today, and this was 8 o'clock at night, but I was completely tapped out and just had to, completely say, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But
Yeah. Have to do that.
But that teaches him to draw his own boundaries too, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even especially as they get older, like they need to learn the same skills. Like that's the whole point of parenting, right? Is to raise them into an adult so that they can thrive as an adult. So part of that is the role model. In fact, the role model might be stronger than what we say. Like we can talk all day, but it's if they get to a certain age, it's in one ear and out the other. But if they see you, even if they don't absorb it and replicate that right then and there, like at a younger age, it is something that's going to come back. Like I remember being, 20 something and thinking about, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
You know, like now I understand why my parents said that. Now I understand why they did those things. So even if it's not right away, what you're doing is still teaching your child, you know, what you should do.
And patience, you're teaching them patience.
Yeah.
Not that I need something now, I'm gonna get it now.
Yeah.
You know.
One of the best things I learned as an educator from one of my mentors was, you know, they to tell the kids. So when I would go to teach, he said, if you're having a bad day or you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, just let the people you're with know. So you say, you know what, I'm having a really bad day today. So if I seem a little more agitated or I have a little less patience today, just kind of bear with me because I'm just kind of off today. It's not going to be like this forever, but you know, just kind of tell people, listen, I need a little space, or I need you to be more patient with me today. So really, just kind of like you said, if you, like Kelly was saying, you know, I can't help you right now, but if you give me a little bit, maybe I can help you later. So like you said, setting those boundaries, I think that's important.
Yeah. It's a lot like when you get on the airplane and they go through the talk about how you need to put the mask on yourself before you put it on your child.
Right.
I think that's really hard for a parent to imagine, like when you actually imagine what that scenario might feel like. But it's the truth, because worst case scenarios, you put the mask on the child, now the child's responsibility is to care for you.
Right.
And most parents are like, no, I don't want to ever put that on my child. I don't want my child to have to feel like they have to be older than they are because because something's not going right, you know. So you got to take care of yourself so that you can be there for your kids.
Yes.
So I want to talk a little bit about, I want to skip to this one over here because I want to talk to Jen, being a nutritionist, and I know Kelly does a lot of food prep, and I know Kathy does too. So how does doing food prep save you time and make it easier to make better choices nutritionally?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's super easy. If you make all your decisions on one day in the week and when it's not too crazy and not a lot is going on, and you've made all your healthy decisions, now it's just a matter of going forward with it, right? So you don't have to make that decision during lunch or at the end of the day to say, well, what are we going to have for dinner? I don't know. What are we going to have? You know, what do you want to have for dinner? And then that's when we're like, oh, we'll get takeout.
Right.
But you know what? If you already had something pre-planned and something that was already possibly even already cooked, you know, now you just have to go forward with it. So it cuts the decision making, because decision making is the same as willpower. And at the end of the day, we really don't have much of that left. Most people, anyways. You know, I think the other thing too is, like, for me anyways, I meal prep primarily on Sunday, so I'll try to shop on a Saturday, and then I spend about half of my Sunday in the kitchen. Not that I have to spend that much time, but it's actually quality time, because I play cards with my husband, you know, in between cooking stuff. We get to talk, we get to catch up, you know, the kids will come in. I do teach my kids to cook. My 12-year-old cooks quite a bit, and then the 5-year-old, he's getting, you know, he participates here and there whenever he can. So, you know, I'm teaching them, again, it's that role model, and I'm teaching them. And then it makes the week go better, because now when because we've got sports, we've got theater, we've got band, we've lots of stuff. So with that food already set and ready, it's not something we have to work on during the week, you know. And we do enjoy that. Like, I enjoy that Sunday time with some pots bubbling on the stove, and you know, my family kind of running around. It's nice.
So I mean, if you don't have your own personal nutritionist, some people use the MyFitnessPal app or any of those apps. And you can plan ahead on those apps too. So if you know that you're going to have, you know, you're going to be short on time, you can plan ahead to maybe put your dinner in or your lunch in ahead of time to figure out how much calories or how many points you have left for that day. So you can kind of go through the week that way too, right? And pre-plan your meals that way.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to stay on a budget, or if you're trying to stay at certain points, you're on a weight loss plan. You know, you can do that too by planning, and it's all about planning ahead. So prepping that food so that you know what you have ahead of time. You know, or if you know you're gonna have that glass of wine, you can put it in for the day, and then you have this X amount of points or X amount of calories left. So that can kind of help you be a little bit more successful. Because I'm sure you, as a nutritionist, people come in and they're like, but Jen, like, I need my glass of wine, or I need my piece of chocolate. So right, it's
life's about balance.
Exactly.
And I think when you food prep, it's easier to strike that balance, because like I said, and this is why most people will overeat at the end of the day. Like, the snacking at night is so common, because by the time you get there, there's really nothing left of that part of your brain that makes decisions and is in charge of willpower, because it's the same part. So, you know, you're susceptible to whatever. So if you have it kind of planned out, you know what you're going to do, you know that you're looking forward to that glass of wine on Thursday night, you know, you can have it, you can enjoy it, and there's no, oh, I wish I hadn't done that, or oh, why did I do that?
Right.
No, like, enjoy it, be happy, and move on. No negativity.
Now Kathy has 4 children and a husband,
Wow.
so
And 2 dogs.
and so if she doesn't
Wow.
food prep, I mean, I guess it would just be utter chaos, no?
I do food prep. Yes, I do. More because if I didn't, because we're so busy, I want them to come home and say, I have these healthy options to choose from. Otherwise, it's going to be potato chips and popcorn. Not that I have all that stuff in my house, but if they come home and see a bowl of fruit or I've cut up fruit for them after school, they're more likely to eat that than if they're left to their own devices. And myself too. If I'm not getting home one night till 7 o'clock, I don't want to come home and not have anything to eat. I want to have healthy choices to choose from. Otherwise, I'm going to make a poor choice, and then I'm going to feel awful about myself, and then the cycle continues. It just keeps things going a lot smoother. If everything's set, if we know we're eating chicken on Monday, tacos on Tuesday, whatever it is, that's what the kids expect. We keep it healthy, and we're not going to take out, which is not only calorie-wise a lot higher, but more expensive, especially for a family of 6.
Oh yeah.
This way it's set, and we can save our, nights out for special occasions and that kind of stuff. And I don't tell my kids they can't have treats. I say, we can have 1 treat a week. That's what we do. Whether it's Friday night or Saturday night, it's your choice. I'm not gonna keep them on this regimented nutrition, schedule where they can't ever have treats, because when they get older and they're not in my care anymore, they're gonna go nuts.
Yeah.
So I try to say, yes, you can still have these things, we just have to have in moderation. So that's what we do.
And I know Kelly does a lot of food prep herself, and I know she does a lot of fresh, organic type of foods, right?
Yeah, I have an app on my phone. What is it called? I have an app that I just started using. It's called the Daily Dozen.
Daily Dozen, okay.
I do try to buy a lot of organic food, but it is expensive. But I really, read a lot about health and soil and what's happening to the soil and the nutrition level of what's in organic food versus non-organic food. So I am a voracious reader of articles. I read a lot of magazines and articles around health, and again, I'm listening to you all talk about food prep, and I'm like, I used to have a roommate for a very short time that did food prep, and it looked. I'll cook a big pot of soup, and I'll have a pot of soup for a couple days, but then I get bored of it, and I'll stick it in containers and stick it in the freezer, and then I'll have it for another for another week. But I don't sit and do food prep, so I'm like, maybe I should do that. I did have a roommate,
But
and
that is a form of food prep.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Make pot of
Like
soup.
a pot, yeah.
I often encourage the people that I work with to say, make something big over the weekend when you have that time, and you should make it through most of the week. And then when you run out, or when you're done with it, or whatever it might be, then it's like easy pickup, meaning run to the grocery store and grab this, and this, and then you can throw those together and make something fast. So that way you've got something more complicated that's you put a little bit more effort into making it, so the flavor is there. And then at the end of the week, you're resorting to your convenient foods, but they're healthy convenient foods, because you're grabbing a bag of lettuce and a rotisserie chicken and, a bag of seeds or something like that for your lunch. So it is food prep.
Yeah. Time management and all,
Well, like this week, if you eat meat, so what I did was it's a little cold to grill outside right now. Well, today was nice, but so I went home and I had I got pork chops, and I grilled some pork chops, and then I had that for the rest of the week, with some vegetables. So either for lunch or dinner, if it's a quick, boom, 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 just heat it up, it's ready to go.
Nice.
So something like that, chicken,
It
whatever,
doesn't have to be
fish.
complicated.
No.
It could be complicated, but it can also be so simple.
Yeah.
Just grab like those. They have tons of grills now. George Foreman things
Yeah.
like that. It's really quick. You put it on.
Mhm.
You go get a fresh piece of whatever you like, fish, steak, chicken, whatever, and throw it on the grill, and 5-10 minutes it's done. And
Yeah.
it's a pretty quick way to eat fairly healthy, and so
I have a
doesn't
form
take
of
up a
food.
lot of time.
Nice. I have a form of food prep, if you guys want me to share, that I think works really well. I'm in a situation where my husband does travel for work, so there's weeks where it's just me and the kids, and it can get pretty hectic, and that's when getting stuff done, because we're down a person essentially. Things get a little bit more squeezed. So this one tactic that I've developed is I steam up a lot of vegetables. Sometimes I'll roast and saute, but most of the time I'm steaming them, and all different kinds. So it's like green beans and broccoli and peas and carrots and different kinds. Then I'm cooking some sort of protein, like baked chicken breast or something like that, something super simple, and then some form of carb starch, so something like quinoa or brown rice or sweet potatoes, something like that. Then when it comes time to cook for my boys at the end of the day, I'm taking out these kind of 3 bowls because I'll just put the vegetables all in one giant bowl. And I separate them so they're not mixed, but they're separated. And I will just kind of pick, and I'll maybe like, okay, I'll do the carrots and the broccoli today.
Yeah.
And I'll put that in the, my skillet, and I'll take my protein and I'll add that. And it's a stir fry, but I season them differently, and I use different vegetables each time, so it does kind of transform it, so it's not the same meal.
Yeah.
But it is, I make dinner in 20 minutes
Yes.
with that method, and the food prep itself only takes about an hour. So the food prep is super short, and then the making of the meal is super short. And I'm not going to say that this is like an elegant meal or anything, but
it does the
job.
for my family it works, and I'm able to choose vegetables that my kids like, and
Who doesn't like
it
those
works
rice
great.
bowls?
Exactly.
Quinoa bowls. I mean, they're easy. Like you said, boom, boom, boom.
That's
You got
really-
your protein, you got your carb, and you got
throw it in a bowl.
That's right. Yeah.
That's great.
So we talked a little about this on the other topics, but one of the main things was how do I make a schedule? How do I set a schedule? How do I make me time in there? How do I get my fitness in there? And how do I make time for my kids and my spouse? So I don't know. Do you girls have certain techniques that you use for scheduling your day-to-day work and the kids and your me time and your fitness time? Do you have any tips that maybe you could share that would be helpful?
A whiteboard, and when you walk into my house, it's there, and it's the calendar, and it's by week, and it'll say who has what. The kids are first, and then a lot of times my husband, he works a ton, so I'll say whether he's going to be around or not. And then I'll look at it and say, based on my own work schedule too, all right, I know I can work out here, and I know that we as a family have this time together this day. Sometimes it's around dinner time, a lot of times it's not. If it's not, then I'll say to the kids, all right, if we're home from 7:30 to 8:30, and I'll put it on the board, 7:30 to 8:30, whatever it is, game time, read books, whatever, just so I know that we've all touched base at least for an hour one day. Does it always work? No. Something happens, somebody's sick, somebody's having a breakdown, whatever it is. But I have the schedule up so everybody knows where everyone is and when we're supposed to be together. That's the best thing that I could do with the 6 people. And myself, looking at, okay, Monday I know 30 minutes I can go to the gym real quick, or I can, whatever it is. And I make sure that is just as important as getting so-and-so to baseball and so-and-so to basketball. That is just as important as getting them to where they need to be.
So you're using a whiteboard where there's a lot of apps out there now, especially geared towards families, where you can have an app on the phone where you can organize your time. So everyone has a color. So Joey is blue and Rachel is green, and et cetera, et cetera. So when you go in to check the schedule, you can see who has what and what time. And again, you can make one time that would be a certain color, would be family time. Or so using an app where everyone has access to it would be helpful as well. Just like you're doing with the whiteboard. So that is, Time Tree is one that I use, and you can have different calendars too. You can have calendars for people's birthdays, you have calendars for events, you can have calendars for, just one particular thing, like when a parent's gonna be away if they're traveling. So you can have different types of calendars too, and everyone would have access to that. So that's maybe something that people could do.
Yeah.
Jen?
Yeah. I would say mine's probably similar, not as organized. We're a family
I'm
of 4.
I'm not saying when you walk in it looks perfect. It's like literally like a scribble here and a dash there.
But we do similar thing. We have a calendar board, and then we have kind of like a hanging calendar. So we have the monthly calendar that's large and well labeled and organized, and then we have a paper calendar where we keep, like, oh, in 2 months from now this is going to happen, so we can record that kind of stuff. So it is, it's off an app. It's paper and on the board, but I think it helps us stay organized. And then in terms of day to day, I actually operate more probably on a 24-hour. Like I'll kind of, when I go to bed at night, I'm gonna think, okay, what's going on tomorrow? Like, can I get my walk in during lunch? Am I gonna work out? Do my kids need to be picked up? Kind of thing. But I'm also new to the, my eldest just hit 6th grade, so that's to me is like now we're hitting the crazy. We're involved with everything. It's not just like sports. During these 4 months, it's multiple things. So I might take your app or your well planned board and start mimicking that, because it does get hectic.
Yeah.
And you don't feel good when it's like that. You feel like, oh my God, we're gonna miss something, and so there's this sense of anxiety and stress over like, are we dropping something? Are we missing something? Like, does someone need to be somewhere? And it's it's a lot. Like, it really is a full-time job, And I think many households, they can't have that stay-at-home parent or part-time parent. But like, you still have to do something
Right.
to keep it
Right.
sane.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe it's one of those things where at different phases, especially in terms of being a parent, different phases, like how old are your kids and what are they doing and what's everybody else doing, it probably evolves.
Yes.
You know, and I guess that what I'm sharing is I think I'm at the point where like our system needs to evolve a little bit because there is I do recognize an added stressor
Yes.
there where it's like, okay, well maybe things were a little bit more organized. You wouldn't have to have that.
Well, maybe the app is nice too because you can set alarms. So
Oh,
it'll be
I
a
love
reminder of
alarms.
half an hour,
Yeah.
or tomorrow you have this appointment at this
Yeah.
time, and it'll pop up.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's using technology for good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a safety net alarm, so I set an alarm on my phone that goes off every day at 3:30 or 3:15, because there's many days where my son does need to be picked up from school later for activities.
Yep.
So I put that as the blanket of like, don't forget.
Yeah.
So when it
You gotta
goes
be
off,
smart.
sometimes I know, I do have to go pick him up, but other times it's just like, okay, okay, he's good. So
Yeah.
that way, when it is like, 3:30, I'm not like, was he on the bus?
Yeah.
Or, it's the safety net.
So do you use Time Tree mostly for all of your calendars?
I do. It's nice because they actually recommend it as one of the ones that works really well for families because you can have multiple calendars and they can be
Color-coded.
intertwined together. Yep.
I like that.
Color
I like
coded
that.
and things of that nature. Yep. So
Okay. Wow.
you have something that you use?
You know, my son, he's 19, so I'm in a totally different age bracket, sounds like, than you days. So it's just him and I, and we both work and have very we don't have, we're both entrepreneurs and both have jobs outside of our regular things that are our own businesses, but we're both pretty busy. And so we share notes, like we just go into the notes app, and you can actually just write a note, and you can if you have an iPhone, I don't know, I'm sure that
they all have notes.
they all
Yep.
have something
Yep.
like
Right.
this, but there's like a little people, and you can just put the plus, and if you want to share a note, you just add people to
Nice. It's a good idea.
So, and then I think you can probably share it with multiple people.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a 5-year-old, so he doesn't have a phone yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why for now I use the whiteboard. I'm sure when everyone moves up to that age where everyone has their phones, then we will definitely need some kind of time tree where I know where so-and-so has to be and they can put their own stuff in. Oh, Mom, like my oldest daughter had a meeting, she had to be at school at 7:30 Thursday morning. Didn't tell me till 7:15. Like I would have liked some kind of warning. So I'm like driving her to school in my pajamas because I had no clue this was going on. But she's old enough where she could have put it in and I would have had a warning that we had to be somewhere. And as they get older and I'm involved in more things in high school and clubs and all that, that'll be phenomenal. She's my oldest is only 13, so she's probably my busiest one, and it trickles down. My 5-year-old doesn't really have anything going on, but as they get older, we'll definitely go more app and less board.
I'm gonna check and see if we have any questions
Alright.
from any of our viewers. Does anyone need water?
No, I'm okay.
But yeah, my son, he doesn't really like newspaper, and I've noticed that I don't use newspaper. If I write down a note and then stick it on my desk somewhere, stick it somewhere, and I'm like, can't find it.
We have some nice feedback from some viewers. They liked your meal prep advice and some great advice. And we got Fee watching, and Keisha's watching, and Dana, and Kara, and Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Jackie helped us last time on the forum. She helps a lot. Sarah was watching. A lot of nice people watching here. Got some hearts, some love going on here. Oh, we worked hard to get a nice panel here because I know these ladies, they work very hard and, to provide for their kids and their family some quality time, and they all find fitness obviously very important and nutrition very important. So I think I got a pretty good crew here right now. Just wanted to take a moment to say that we are working what's the word I want to say? Basically, we're working with the coalition to create a wellness panel each month to go over different topics that may be on people's minds. So if there are certain topics that you'd like to see discussed in these wellness panels, we are definitely open to suggestions. Was thinking about in February talking a little bit about maybe how do we get over the winter blues, because I know this time of year it's kind of tough, so that might be our discussion for February, but definitely open to some we do have a guest in our audience. Just wondering, Kathy's sister. Don't worry, you're not on camera. Just wondering if you might have any questions for our panel here today.
No, I think they were very thorough.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, we get it.
I definitely got a lot of information that is very
Are
important.
you gonna go on meal prep?
I do know meal prep. I'm a different kind of meal prep, yeah.
Yeah. What kind of meal prep do you do?
We kind of do like the Sunday Italian thing on Sundays.
Nice.
So.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that.
Right,
Nothing
so
wrong with that.
Like I said, I have a 19-year-old, a big kid, so
Yeah.
they like to eat Italian Sunday food on Sundays, and
Yeah.
then we eat healthy during the week.
Nice.
So, but Sundays is our let go day.
Sundays you're let go. So, but you're having that quality time with your family,
Yeah.
connecting with your family, and you're scheduling it in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's awesome. And they probably learning how to make all the.
Yeah, you can cook well.
Yeah, so they learn how to make the stuff that's been handed down from
Exactly.
generation to generation. So
Exactly.
that's a pretty neat family tradition right there.
Thanks, Jen.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We like Italian food. We can't get enough of that. Let's see. Someone had a question here. Where was my invite, Kathleen Perez? Fee said, nice job. Thank you, Fee. And we got another question we're going to do here, another little topic here we're going to get onto. So one of the other points we were going to discuss was how forming support groups with other parents and their children can help you stay active and informed. So PTOs, and camps, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, fitness-related programs, Park and Rec. Who partakes in these things? How has it helped you with your children and staying informed and different types of activities?
I definitely say that, after you have, each child, you kind of get into this like isolation part where you have this baby and you're stuck at home and you're afraid to leave because you don't want the baby to get germs, whatever have you. By the fifth one, you're like, who cares? But the first one, even the second one, I didn't want to leave the house, and you end up becoming so isolated, and it's just you and that child, and you go insane. And every time I would have a child, I would find some kind of mom group or get involved with somebody's little brownie troop at school, or even an exercise group where I could go somewhere and they have childcare. Because then I know that there's other moms there that are dropping their kids off. They're just as frazzled as I am. They probably feel horrible because you just lost, you just had a baby and you feel disgusting. And it's true. And everyone looks.
That's what they say.
You do. And you're
I haven't had one.
and you're frazzled, right? You don't look your best.
Yeah.
You're lucky you got out of the house. Who knows if you brushed your teeth, anything. You just want to get out of the house. And you want other people around you that are going through the same thing. And it's funny. Me and my girlfriends talk about this. As your kids get older, your group of friends change because it's very hard for me now to be around. Not hard, but it's difficult. I feel like an old mom now, I see women who've just had a baby and they're young, they're in their early 20s, and now I feel like this old bag. And I'm like,
She's only 29. She's only 29.
But as your kids get older, you kind of move along with them, and sometimes your friends change because you move along with your child. I'm in a special situation because I have a 13-year-old, but I also go down to my 5-year-old. And when I had my 5-year-old, he was my 4th, I was one of the older moms because he wasn't my first. He was my 4th. But I always found some kind of group, something to be a part of, because it would pull me out of my house. And once you're out socializing, you feel so much better. You really do. You come home, you feel better, you got out of the house. Very, very important.
Totally
You
agree.
want to take the next?
Again, my son is 19, but I
Yeah, but you've
really
been there.
been
Oh,
there,
absolutely.
and actually some of those people that I met in those support groups, like, I've been friends with for
Yeah.
19 years. Like, I've been friends with them since, and we still get together like twice a year, and we still, and we'll even get the kids together if they're around. But half of them are in college. But so it's just and when you grow your kids with these people, it's really cool. It's just like, and then you see all the kids like do all these really interesting things. All of our kids are doing different, fun, whatever, interesting things. So it's fun to.
And then you
just
kind of
watch
go through
your
the
kids.
steps with them too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a toddler anymore. Now I have, middle age, like, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you're going to hit tweens, which is a good time. And then teens. So you're all kind of going through it together. Then everyone's off to college. And, you all kind of go through these steps together. And if you have that support system, it's so much easier if you have someone to talk to that's going through what you're going
Especially if you don't have family that's like
Yes.
immediate. My family was 45 minutes away. I raised my son in Hamden, and my family's in Woolkit, and it was 40 minutes to get from door to door. So I definitely had a support group of friends that, we were very close. And we still are, but it's different because the kids are older. My sister is a new mom. She's 40, but she's like going through it right now. And I just had this big long talk with her about that exact thing of please go find a support group because her baby is just 1 year old and she feels it's a very isolating time. And it takes a lot to just be like, you know what, you just have to go to the library. I would go library hopping. I would go, all different libraries.
I think there's almost like this fairy tale when you have a baby, where it's just so supposed to be this everything is good and gold, and there's more work and stuff like that, but it, like, when it really comes down to it is, just like you guys have said, it does become isolating in a way because your life changes so dramatically, especially with the first one, it changes so dramatically that your previous support groups might not actually be your current ones because you might not be at the same point of life, kind of thing, And I think it's important, like, I'm glad that we're talking about this because I think a lot of new moms don't think about that. Like, I know when I was a new mom, it was really hard, and I was told that, this group over there can help, or you can do this and that, but honestly, I was scared because in my mind, and I was 24 when I had my first, and, but in my mind, I kept thinking, no, it's supposed to be this fairy tale.
Right.
It's just supposed to work out. It's supposed to be natural and it's just supposed to be all good. But it's really not. It's not that you become a parent or an adult and then, life just keeps riding forward. Like, there is this continual, effort and we hit hard points, and I think your first child is one of those hard points, and you really do need that support, whether it's family or friends. For me, it was a lot of family and a lot of friends. Right now, I would say my family is probably the bulk of my support. Both my parents and my sister and my husband, definitely. My husband and I have always been, support memes for each other kind of thing. And I think it's made all the difference to have that, for me anyways, to have that relationship with him, to have that, us working together, and it not being, well, I do this and you do that. It's really about, no, we're in this together and we're going to not just live life and parent together and stuff like that, but also be each other's rock when one's having a hard time, or be the person that we can openly talk about our struggles or what we're feeling, even if it's related to that, to our spouse, because I think when you have that, at least for me, we have that type of relationship where as long as we talk to each other with love and care, that we can express oh wow, this would be, maybe this would help me, or I'm feeling really stressed about this situation, even if it involves them.
So anyone thinking about having children out there, I highly suggest you borrow some for at least a month so that you can see what it's really cracked up to be.
No, you gotta change your entire body first. Everything's gotta change.
You can't just carry around the flowers.
No, you can't.
No.
Your body does go through massive change.
I think for people who do have kids, who want to have kids, I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Because when you raise a little person and you watch that person go from the little baby that you nurture to becoming a personality and a person with opinions and pursuits and passions and interests and all sorts of stuff, it's fun to watch them blossom, especially when you can hopefully, at least the hope is, help them steer on an easier course, to be like, okay, learn from what we're saying and what we're role modeling we're providing with you, so that you don't have to make all the mistakes. Because if you can avoid mistakes, then they don't have to necessarily go through those rough patches.
But it is okay to say, I have bad moments, or I had bad moments. You can say to yourself, especially as a new parent, this is tough. It's not as yes, of course, I love having a baby and everything, but there are definitely moments when you're like, why is it so difficult? And why did I do this?
Oh,
yes.
You know what? I know this so this, I think so far we've touched on things that I think, gentlemen, dads, would go through as well. Now maybe this one might be a little more specific, maybe not be as much towards the male species, but girls, can you talk a little bit about how you were able to either maintain or get back into fitness after having a child, because we may have some newer moms out there, sorry dads, and maybe affecting you too, because you may be sympathy eating or something like that, right? They get stressed out too.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's
dads
hard,
out there, I mean,
And you're exhausted. You're exhausted.
yeah. So how were you able to either maintain your physical fitness, or how were you able to at least get back into it after having kids, and especially after having multiple kids? How do you have any tips for them as to how to kind of get your mojo back, or get it going in general?
I think if you stay active during the pregnancy as much as you can, and that's for both parties, both you know, man and woman, you know, stay active, because that starts to build your intrinsic motivation. Like, intrinsic motivation is where you want to do something because you want to do it, not because, oh, I have to go exercise because it's better for my health, or I have to go exercise because of my weight or whatever. You want to do it because you enjoy it. So if you stay active during that phase, not only does it help you physically, but it helps like set that kind of tone. So, you know, after a baby's born, once you start having that, you know, doctor's clearance and everything, from there on, I think it's more about showing up than it is about sweating bullets or doing X, Y, and Z. Like, just as long as you are saying, oh, I'm gonna go for a walk, or oh, I'm gonna do some gentle stretches, like, you just have to consistently show up. It doesn't really, I think in the beginning, matter what you do, as long as you carve out that time and show up.
Because once again, a habit will form.
Exactly. It's all about the habit. And then as you start to, you know, your body heals, and it's amazing what the female body does after we have babies. Like, that transformation is just incredible from start to finish. But, you know, once you start to feel better, then you're like, oh, maybe I'll do a vinyasa. Oh, or maybe I'll go to a class, or maybe I'll take a more hilly route or something like that. And then you build from there.
And I think they have a lot of groups now, support groups for moms, either at home groups. I know the YMCA offers childcare, so especially new moms and dads can go and get a workout in a park and rec. I think they probably have some type of program too.
And then you get a half hour to yourself.
Right.
I don't care if you're just on the bike pedaling away. You're getting a half hour to yourself, and you know that the kids are taken care of, and you're getting a little downtime.
Or you find your friends, like I babysit for friends if they need a break. You find friends that don't have kids that didn't want to have them but like to have them for a little while and then give them back. You know,
borrowing.
We like that. We like to borrow them for a while, so we borrow them and we give them back, and you can go work out.
I wish I had you around.
I know. Right? But I mean, now I think there's so much more available, especially over the internet. You can find groups, you know, like mommy and me groups, or daddy and me groups, or stuff like that, meetups.
There was a group I was part of called Moms on the Move, and we all had babies, and what we did was we all put our babies in the carriage or the strollers, whatever, and we walked, and that's what we did.
Nice.
And you know, that at least we got out of the house, we got a little exercise, and we were all talking about what we were dealing with. All our kids were around the same age, and that goes back to, you know, it made me want to meet up. You know, it got me out of the house, got me to exercise, but I found my support group too.
Moms on the Move, I like it.
Moms on the Move.
And if people don't know where to look or where to start, I mean, ask us, any of us, and we'll give you all of our information, and we can help kind of point you in the right direction. And again, you can always access your local park and recs, your local YMCA.
There's so many things. You can literally type in like new
Meetup.com
moms.
is a really great resource.
What was that? Sorry?
Meetup.com.
Meetup, right.
Yeah.
Because it's you can type in the search bar, you know.
To find a group. Just
Yeah.
put in mom, probably.
Yeah, just be
put
careful
mom
who
in
you're
or
meeting
dad
up
and
with.
see if
Right.
Exactly.
Like, you know, if it's a group called Hot Moms,
Maybe you want to scroll past that line.
You might want to
Unless it speaks to you. I'm just
Well,
like,
that's
you know,
what I'm
like,
saying.
that's
Each
the
your
thing.
own. Try to be hot moms if you're looking for hot moms. Just be careful.
Right?
You never know.
Yeah.
Just
Just the last thing I want to add too is I think as your kids get older, because I have the 12 and the 5-year-old too. So what I have found, and even now with the 5-year-old, is we work out together. So we had to have a basement set up situation. We've got some nice soft floor mats. My husband actually went to lengths to create like a bounce station for my little one where he can safely jump and little obstacle stuff. So we'll go down there, and you know, sometimes we're following a video and the kids are just running around and causing a ruckus, and that's fine. And sometimes we're working together. Sometimes my husband, he used to do mixed martial arts, so he'll bring them through, you know, those kind of exercises and teach them self-defense moves and stuff like that. And you know, I think again, that's the role modeling.
Absolutely.
And it's not as decompressing as I think when you're on your own. But still, it's good quality. it's a way to get both of them done. I get quality time with my family, and I'm getting my physical exercise in.
And I know Kelly, haven't you been teaching your son yoga since he was younger, right?
Yeah.
Something kind
He
of-
went through a phase. I've been teaching yoga since 2003. So when he was younger, he was so much more open to it, and then he went through a phase where he wouldn't do it, and now he's back to like asking for, and realizing that it's really helpful for his, posture, because he's got some aches and pains, and who doesn't now? Because we all sit in a chair.
Technology.
Yeah. So he's asking for it more and more now.
Yeah.
Asking me to help him with it.
Your kids are in sports and things of that nature, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the best thing I could say about, making yourself work out after you have a baby is, I didn't work out through my first pregnancy. I was like, oh, I'm pregnant, I'm gonna eat whatever I want, do whatever I want, and not do anything. And I ended up gaining a ton of weight, and it took me a very long time to get back to my pre-baby weight. With my second child, I worked out all the way through, and I didn't gain nearly half the amount of weight. That pregnancy was so much easier. I recovered so much quicker. I felt so much better about myself. And I continue to do that with my next two pregnancies. I always give myself 6 months after my child, whoever I've had, to get myself back into some kind of groove. Because no matter what anyone says, you are exhausted. So those first 6 months, if I have a break, I'm gonna sleep. That's what I'm gonna do. After that 6 months, I'm like, all right, now I gotta get going. And it starts out once or twice a week to the gym, then 3 times. Then I'm starting to get into a groove. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to look better, and then the cycle starts. But you got to give yourself a little bit of a break too.
Yeah.
And you just got to ask your doctor, what
Yes.
what are you capable of doing at that time during your pregnancy? And I know a lot of women can do yoga right up to, right?
Yeah, totally depends.
Yeah. So a lot of women can still do yoga too, right, during pregnancy,
Yeah.
depending.
Depending on, deep twisting, certain backward bends you want to sort of stay away from, but and you can't be on your stomach for, past the first trimester, I think. But yeah, there's yoga for pregnancy.
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
they do warrior pose and things
Yeah.
like that.
CrossFit.
Different types of
I
poses.
do CrossFit for my kids.
Standing poses.
I
Standing
wore a heart
poses,
monitor,
right.
and I did CrossFit through my kids, and
Wow.
I would wear a heart monitor, and I stopped usually around like my eighth and a half month, because you really start to lose your balance, and you don't have any more, control.
I was just gonna say,
But
right.
I would wear my little heart monitor and make sure I don't go too crazy. And then after the 8.5 months, I would start to take it down a little bit, because at that point you're
You're
a
ready to
disaster anyway. I mean,
Yes.
I think if you have a solid foundation to start with, a lot of the times you are, as long as there's no complications, you are able to continue working out. With my first, I brought it way down, because my doctor, I forgot what it was, he told me to only lift, it was like 30 pounds or something. So I kept doing like one arm stuff, like one arm and one leg. So I was like, it wasn't challenging from where I was. But I didn't, so I wasn't in great shape.
At least you did something.
throughout that
Yes.
pregnancy. Yeah, I did something,
You're
but
still moving.
but I felt the difference, meaning like my recovery from that, my postpartum period from that pregnancy compared to my second one, where I did work out all the way through, and at that point, like the science had come out that like, oh no, it's okay, like you can lift heavier weights as long as you are accustomed to it.
Yes.
Like, you don't want to
you don't want to start working out the day you get pregnant. That's not what you should do.
It's something that you build and then you maintain, and then you can maintain it during a pregnancy if there's no complications. And postpartum with that was, and mind you, this was 7 years later. So I was 30, which a lot of people mark as like things are gonna be different now that you're in your you're 30, so it's gonna be different compared to your 20s. And I did feel different in many areas, but not in my physical fitness. My physical fitness, I felt stronger coming out of the birth of my second child and that postpartum period, and I was able to get back to exercise, and I actually achieved a fitness goal that I had set myself for years that I never achieved until my son was 6 months. And that was to do 5 pull-ups, not chin-ups, but pull-ups in a row. And I really akin it to the fact that during that pregnancy, I stayed strong. I was able to maintain my exercise. So when I came out of it, I had that intrinsic motivation. I had a good level of muscle mass still in my body, and I recovered well from the whole thing. And so I was able to dig into that and achieve it, which like I said, I'd never been able to achieve that before.
So I think the point they're making is you need to come to Main Street Wellness Studio. You need to go to Divinely Rooted. You need to go see Jen. You need to get fit, nutritionally sound, and flexible, and the baby's just gonna shoot right
That's
out,
right, and
and
you're
you're
gonna
gonna just right after that
right into those new
pregnancy,
jeans.
you're just gonna after you have that baby, a couple days, you're gonna be up and at it and ready to go and have another one. So, we'll get you ready for your pregnancy. So don't have them yet. Give us like 6 months. We'll get you in shape.
Yes.
Then you can
It
go
is-
make the baby.
Yes.
It's a good idea that if you're planning to have a baby, you do want to set yourself up for success.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And I think just like we meal prep so that we can have a good week, you want to prep, leading into conception and say, let me get healthy now. So that I can make my life infinitely
Yeah,
easier.
right.
And
So much easier
Yes.
for
going forward because having a baby doesn't.
Yeah, because you're like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I'm not in the best shape, so I just have a baby now, and then I'll get in shape after. But as I
So
think
much
I've heard a lot of women say, after I have the baby, it's so much harder.
So much
Whereas if you were in decent shape and eating nutritionally well, good
yeah.
nutrition, proper nutrition, the more flexible you are, the more you. Kelly does a lot of meditating, and the more you take time to yourself to do some meditation and think about the things you want to do with your life, after I think
Quieting your mind.
quieting your mind
Yeah.
because especially when you become a mom, you don't have a lot of quiet time, right? So when you do have a minute to be able to come back to center, right, it's gonna make you a better parent.
Yep.
Right?
Breathing.
Breathing techniques.
breathing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's amazing what just
Absolutely.
breathing can do
Yeah.
for you, like when
Yes.
you're in that moment where like things aren't right, you're like, just a few deep breaths, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, no, we're good.
And
Like
then
I can now move
the
forward.
kids, they see you, that when the kids see you active, they want to be active.
100%.
They
Yeah.
want to imitate what
Yes.
their parents are doing.
Same
So
thing with food.
if you're
Yeah.
doing yoga,
Same thing with
if you're stuffing your face with popcorn and candy, that's what they're gonna want to do. But if they
100%.
see you having an
Yeah.
apple or a piece, I
Yeah.
don't know, whatever, a piece of fish or something like that versus McDonald's French fries,
Yeah.
monkey see, monkey do kind
Mhm.
of thing.
Yeah.
It's not that they can't have that stuff, but definitely they're gonna
Yeah.
try to emulate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, younger kids have different receptions of like when you're a toddler or a baby, like what you see and what information you absorb visually is different. So when you're eating lots of different fruits and vegetables, like you have color on your plate, right? Like sometimes you hear about the tan diet,
Yeah.
and that's your French fries and your burgers, and it's all brown, kind of tan colored. They actually, one theory anyway is that kids become accustomed to that color situation, and that's why some kids, the picky eater kids are like, well, I don't want to eat anything green. Right, so they've already made a decision that they don't want that because in their mind, green is not something that's on the plate
Right.
of enjoyment.
This makes
You
perfect
know?
sense now because I
So
grew
you
up on
want a
meatballs.
colorful.
Yeah, meatballs. Yeah.
I mean, all delicious. But if
Meatballs before salad. Sorry.
if you expose your kids to more colors, and hopefully it's not red dye number 40, but I'm talking about like fruits and vegetables. The theory is that they might be more open to being food adventurous in that area. Yeah, to eat different types of foods. So
Yeah. Me too.
I think it's true.
Just double check to see if you have
Make sure there's no more questions.
I think you guys are doing a phenomenal
Thank
job.
you.
Lookout View or whatever those are shows. The View, the
It's
Chew,
I
the
feel
Stew.
like we all need a hot beverage.
I know.
Okay, we all need a
I'll
tea.
bring my little mug.
Let's see. No, I think we're good. Hi, Betsy. All right. I think we're good. Any closing comments from any of you ladies? I think you did a phenomenal job. I know we were slated to 8, but we just never know if we're going to get questions and things like that. And I know they're starting. Oh, hey, belly dancing, right?
Oh yes.
At
It's happening right
at
now.
the Hidden Gem and Divinely Rooted, correct?
Yes, inside. It's an 8-week series.
Oh.
Today's week 2, and
Nice.
there's 6 more weeks right after.
Now, can you drop in, or do you have to sign up? And how much is it, Kelly?
$15.
Sweet. To go shake your little booty and your little belly, right? Do they get to? Do they bring the little the?
Yes, she brings like the little bells and little scarves.
Oh, see.
I have a ton of them. But
So that's a good one. I mean, most pregnant moms could do that, right? If they were pregnant or after,
Oh yeah, shake that
Yeah,
baby all around.
shake it. Kelly, can you tell us your information for your website?
oh yes, my website is divinelyrooted.com. A lot of people spell it with a D-E. It's actually D-I-V-I-N-E-L-Y.
Okay.
And then rooted just like the tree.com.
Yep. Okay. And she has classes, yoga, and then you have different types of classes too, Pilates,
Yeah,
fusion
mostly
type
yoga,
of stuff.
Pilates. I'll throw in a dance class. We have this Sunday. We have an afternoon, 1 to 3 p.m. We have somebody coming to teach just an ecstatic freeform kind of dance.
Oh, fun.
She's gonna have a speaker and
Mm-hmm.
bringing her own playlist. And yeah, the belly dancing is every Friday night from 7 to 7:45.
Nice.
And it's yoga, and my so that they can be more calm around their family.
There you go. And you are located.
So the address is 33 North Main Street.
Mhm.
It's Suite D, so it's right behind Main Street Wellness
Okay.
Studio. You have to get in there through the hidden gem.
Mhm.
So you basically park in the back of the building, in the back.
So you can pick up a couple little gifts for your friends or yourselves while you're in there before or after your classes, right?
Yeah.
It's a great space. It's a great
nice
space.
Gift shop with
Yep.
all different cards, and they even have kids, Uno and different kids books. And
Yeah, it's a wonderful little shop. Kathy, do you want to tell us a little bit about your business, where you work, a couple different places? You can promote whatever you want here.
Oh,
Whatever you want. I know you have like 3 different
I
places.
do. I work at a lot of places. I am a personal trainer. I'm a small group trainer. I do fitness classes and I teach spinning.
Excellent. And where do you do those things? You can promote anything on here.
I do spinning at the Wallingford YMCA, the
Okay.
family one, on the west side. I teach small group, personal training, and bar here at Main Street Wellness.
Okay.
And I teach small group personal training and circuit-based classes over at a place called Fit 30 in Cheshire.
Excellent.
If you look me up on Facebook, I'm Perez Power Fitness. I'm always talking about what I'm doing, where I'm going, what I'm going to do. Send me a message if you're looking for something else. I can teach anything.
Excellent.
So I like to always see what the trend is and see what's coming back.
Absolutely.
It's the bar class.
Oh, bars Thursday, 6:15.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's drop-in, but you need to register ahead of time,
Yeah,
right?
you do. That one's fills. So-
Yep, that one does fill up. Yep. That's a popular one.
People love bar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jen, you said you like to do videos at home, right?
Yeah,
Some videos
I
at
do.
home.
I have I stream free videos from 2 different websites. One's doyogawithme.com.
Okay.
That's the yoga one, and the other one is fitnessblender.com.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I've heard
they
of
have
those.
paid for stuff, but
Yeah.
I do stream through there, and
Yep.
I have not run out of videos yet.
There you go.
So,
There you go. And I have a collection of videos in the studio here that people are welcome to borrow. You can rent them for $1, and when you return them, you get your $1 back. So I have
nice.
yoga, Taibo, all different
Oh,
things. So.
Billy Banks? Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And then we offer personal training here at the studio, small group training, and then classes. Here we can show you right there. Look at the little sign right there that tells you everything we have. Ba ba ba. Our friends at Words on Wood made that sign for us and the clock. It's a little plug for them. Words on Wood in Wallingford. All your signage needs. Anything else anyone would like to add this evening before we end it?
oh yeah.
What her nutrition place is.
Yeah.
called.
You didn't talk about your
Sorry
nutrition
about that.
place. It's okay.
Yep, I'm a state certified nutrition. I have a private practice right here on Center Street next to Jake's Restaurant in that medical building.
And what's the address, ma'am?
185. Think about that. 185 Center Street. And it's called Evolve Nutrition, and the website is evolve-nutrition.com.
Excellent. And we're Main Street Wellness Studio right here at 33 North Main Street, behind Craig Jewelers. Hi, Mark. And behind Salon Nathaniels. So come on in and check us out. We have schedules out in the hallway here you can pick up. We're always doing special events, so check out our event page on Main Street Wellness Studio. And I know that Divinely Rooted has special events, and Hidden Gem has special events too. Those are our neighbors, so check them out as well. And also check out our friends at the Coalition for a Better Wallingford. They are always doing programs and events to help people, especially those affected by drug and alcohol abuse or substance abuse. They're helping people, hopefully trying to educate people on and make them aware of what's going on with the opioids and the vaping and things of that nature. So they've got a lot of great programs. They're a great resource. And one of those things is basically talk about these things with your kids. You know, this stuff is going on. Most people have been affected by it, whether themselves or someone they know or a friend, or there's no one that hasn't really been affected by this. Everyone knows someone that either has had some type of substance abuse, drinking problem, something of that nature, depression, anxiety, all this stuff kind of coincides with it. But anyway, the people at Coalition, a lot of great resources over there. So definitely check out the Coalition for a Better Wallingford, and we are very grateful to be partnering with them in this wellness series. So thank you again to our guest, Kelly Codiana from Divinely Rooted, Kathleen Perez from Power Perez?
Perez Power Fitness.
Perez Power Fitness, and Jen Morgan from Evolve Nutrition. Thank you very much, girls. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening. Woohoo!